Presenting to you iTALK 2nd edition 2023, jointly organized by the Department of Commerce, Mahe, Manipal and IBAT. IBAT isn't just a typical think tank. It's a dynamic force that concludes extensive research and also engages in advocacy on subjects spanning the realms of management, both in general and its specific aspects like the social policy, economics, geopolitics, technology, and culture. This remarkable organization is dedicated to addressing the issues that have substantial importance and impact in our society today, both at home in India and also in the global arena. Allow me to introduce to you all the host, Department of Commerce, Mahe, Manipal. Department of Commerce is a dynamic hub of knowledge and expertise where academic rigor meets real-world applications. It also is leading in shaping future leaders of commerce and industry. Department of Commerce Manipal Academy of Higher Education has courses to offer in BBA, BCom, MSc, MCom, MA and PhD in Logistics and Supply Chain Management. A brief about the Department of Commerce. This morning, we've gathered here to introduce to you iTALK, a project that springs from the very core of IBAT's predominant mission. iTALK is a community-driven effort aimed at bringing IBAT's enlightenment ideas to the hearts and minds of the local communities throughout India. It's about sharing impactful ideas, sparkling meaningful discussions, and also creating a wave of positive change. We hope that you find today's event as engaging, thought-provoking, and inspiring as it is always. As we explore the potential of iTALK, let us invite you all into this brightening and enlightening journey. We welcome you all.
The organizing committee this year has come up with a very diverse kind of setup of speakers, where we have speakers coming from different backgrounds who are going to enlighten their experiences, their learnings to all of you. And it is definitely going to be a very informative, entertaining, and something which will give you a chance to think about certain things which you may probably have never thought about. Many times in our routine life, we focus on our disciplines, what we have come to study for, and we ignore certain areas which probably would interest us and would definitely make us a better or holistic personality. But we typically ignore those topics and we focus morely on the discipline. We start working in silos. So typically this particular kind of activity we are actually organizing to break this silo so that people work on interdisciplinary areas. And that is something which even the National Education Policy talks about, and even Mahe advocates it to a large extent. So keeping that in mind, Department of Commerce and IBAT partnered in organizing this activity. And we have this wonderful location where we are organizing it. I am sure you will enjoy the entire show.
In the interest of the upcoming students, they should know what is going on around. They should know which career they should select and all that. And for that purpose, they should have first-hand information from this HU's mouth. So it is not online program, it is offline program, 1:1, and therefore, if you listen to those people who are outside in their profession, who are outside in their activities and all that, and who have excelled in almost all the fields, and that's why we have selected the speakers from different fields. So we got professors, we got doctors, medicine, and education academicians, and all that.
I request Dr. Sandeep Shenoy, CA.K. Rajaram Shetty, Dr. K. Dasharath to join us as well to do the honors. Thank you. I request all speakers, organizing committee members and curators to come forward for a group photograph. All the speakers, organizing committee members, curators, kindly come forward for a group photograph.
Navaneeth Ganesh. He is a Mahatma Gandhi National Fellow with Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India. He is an engineer by training from Manipal Institute of Technology and has pursued public policy and management from IIM Bangalore. His interests lie in education, skill development, entrepreneurship development, climate policy, geopolitics and international relations, as well as technology policies. He has been confirmed with OMLAS Fellowship from NELIS Global in 2022 and has an unleashed global talent at the Global Innovation Lab in 2022 to solve for SDGs. He also has been on the Jagriti Yatra in 2019 and has been the Jagriti Ambassador for District Enterprise in 2020. Navaneeth enjoys volunteering for various causes on the weekends, mentoring student organizations, teaching in schools, and has been a Dan Utsav volunteer for 8 years now. Navaneeth, please.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you for the introduction, and it's always difficult to follow such illustrious speakers, and I'll do my best. Let's see. The G20, as we have come to know over the last many months, is a forum for economic cooperation. 19 countries and the European Union, as well as most recently the African Union, constitute this forum. And it has since expanded its purview to other aspects as well, including global trade, finance, labor, democracy, governance, climate, sustainability, etc. Why is G20 important, and what is the entire hullabaloo about the Delhi Declaration? I will take the next few minutes to sort of unpack that. The G20 is together has more than 2/3 of global population, constitutes more than 3/4 of global trade, and contributes to 85% of global GDP. It's also an important agenda setter for global order and has grown increasingly powerful since its first summit back in 2008. Now, the G20, unlike other multilateral forums, does not have a permanent headquarters or secretariat. In fact, every presidency is rotated every year, and it's supported by something called as the Troika. The Troika is a Russian cart that is pulled by 3 horses, and it's quite similar to the road track clubs or the Lions clubs that you have, where the immediate past president, the current president, and the president-elect work together. Similarly, the previous presidency, the current presidency, and the next presidency work together so that there's a smooth transition of power and knowledge and resources and tools, etc. Now, G20 started as a grouping of financial institutions, Reserve Bank governors or the central bank governors and finance ministers, but then it grew to the level, post-2008, the global economic crisis, it grew to the levels of heads of state. So the 3 tracks that are there are reflective of that. The first is the Sherpa track. The Sherpa is a Himalayan tour guide or a mountaineer guide for people who scale the Everest or climb the Himalayas, and these Sherpas are representatives of the heads of state, and they guide the G20 deliberations, and they represent the G20 delegations and the country in the G20 meetups. They look at everything from education, agriculture, digital economy, etc. There are more than 13 working groups under the Sherpa track and 4 initiatives that look at everything that the G20 has in its presidency's manifesto that year. Similarly, there's the finance track. The finance track largely has central bank governors and finance ministers, and they talk about financial inclusion, partnerships, building financial infrastructure, global financial infrastructure, etc. And the third and the most important, especially for us, for students and non-government participants, is the engagement groups. There are 11 engagement groups this year, the Youth 20, the Civil 20, the Urban 20, Startup 20, etc. And these are largely non-government participations and stakeholders that come together and give policy recommendations and their thoughts, take their thoughts to the G20 presidency and the secretariat through the communication position papers and say what the ask from the ground is, what the ask from the industries are, what the ask from the cities are, what the ask from the youth is, etc. Now each of these working groups further down have more engagement groups and working groups to facilitate greater consultations and organize a truly decentralized policy making process that goes down to the grassroots and then all this adds up to the final declaration that happened in Delhi not long ago. Okay, now the G20 presidency this year brought a lot of attention and excitement towards India, and it's natural anyway, because every time India takes up a leadership position in the multilateral forums, we do something differently, we do something innovatively. And through this year has been marked by a lot of outreach activities, consultation workshops, and another unique activity called as a Jan Bhagidari, which saw the G20 process, which were previously limited to metro cities and urban centers, and taken to different communities and different cities across the country. Over 60 cities had G20 working or side events, and that's probably the highest in any presidency so far. Every state had a G20 working event, and the engagement groups took it even further. The Civil 20 took the Jan Bhagidari and took activities to 45 lakh people across the country, largely India, but some abroad as well. The Y20, I see Aniket somewhere here. He was part of a Y20 program that happened here in Manipal. So Y20 reached through more than 1,500 events, reached more than 1.5 lakh young students, young people like you and me probably as well, although Venu Madhav disagrees. And even the G20 events, it went to more than 1.3 lakh people, over 60 events held in 300 events held in 60 different cities. And what this actually does is, it speaks volumes about taking the leadership to the grassroots and creating the true essence of participatory governance, because your voice is really heard. Now, so you can see some of the activities, everything from beach cleanup drives to mock G20s to cyclothons to some lake reclamation. These activities where people participated were used as platforms to talk about the G20 and what it means for the country going forward. Now, we talk about gamification and monthly active users and all of that in app development and enterprise development. Just think about the gamification or the engagement, community engagement in community development. What happened? Just before the G20 working group meeting for education in Pune and Bhubaneswar, two of them happened. In my ministry, I work for the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. We were engaged, we were districts competing against each other on who engages the higher number of people in Jan Bhagidari activities and conducts more number of Jan Bhagidari activities. So states and districts competed against each other. This for me was gamification and active users in a different sense that I had not seen out while talking about while working in the corporate or while working in college. So this was Jan Bhagidari. These are some of the photographs, a little bit of self-promotion here of the activities that I sort of participated in. The gentleman over there that we are all intently listening to is the Sous Sherpa of the C20, the Civil Society 20, which is a grouping of civil society organizations talking for community development. We had something on Seva, or philanthropy, and the future of giving. We had a working group on participatory governance under Seva. Manipal also hosted a W20 and T20 also, and Y20 of course, over the presidency. And see, Manipal is a big university town, so Manipal naturally would attract some attention. But these G20 engagement groups have even gone to places like Mudbidri or Ramnagara or Karwar as well. And that is not something where big government forums happen except for during elections. So I think this was a testament to all of that. Then I just talked about the numbers. Now the New Delhi Leaders Declaration. Now this is the yardstick with which every presidency is measured, and this is drafted and signed by all the members at the end of it. Now last year in Bali, the leaders could not come to an understanding over the Russia-Ukraine conflict or war, and hence the declaration was not signed by everybody. This year, however, after extensive deliberations, even though the leaders were at an impasse just about 2 weeks before the Delhi summit, at the end, the declaration was passed with a unanimous signature, with a unanimous agreement, and that's a win any day in my books and a testament to the diplomatic prowess of India. It's funny, diplomacy and international relations, India and China, the US and China, we may not see eye to eye on a lot of things, including armaments and borders, but still the Indo-China trade, or the US-China trade today is at an all-time high. And the Cold War might have been about the space race, but when it comes to space today, Russia and the US are on the same block, and China is kept out of it. So for economic development or scientific development, there are different blocks compared to military or diplomatic tensions. And that's the charm of it. What are the wins of this presidency as a whole when you really look at it? Of course, the Delhi Declaration is there, and there are certain things of it. These are some observations that I have sort of made. First is peace and development. While condemning war as a whole and not taking any explicit sides, the declaration called for a cooperation and understanding to be fostered, ushering an era of peace. This was something everyone agreed on, and one that the G20 will firmly push for. After all, the economic after effects of war are just as equally devastating. Recognizing the strength of engagement groups on reaching out to a larger chunk of the population, and recognizing enterprise creation as a strong a cornerstone of economic development, the presidency introduced the Startup 20 engagement groups, which has had a very successful debut year this year. Incidentally, this year Startup 20 is also going to conduct a Startup Yatra, which will go to 12 different locations across the country, holding 500 youngsters, and show different models of enterprise creation, and Indian, like Sir said, frugal innovation, or rather crude way of calling it jugaad, how enterprises have been created, built, and scaled up in a country like India. And India has a very unique advantage, that is population. Something that's tested in India will work anywhere in the world, right? So that's one addition. One phrase that has been making the rounds through the past year is India is the mother of democracy. Now, one may agree with it or not, but with unique models of local self-governance and the Panchayat Raj system embedded in the values of government in this country, we have been able to hold a strong value focus while speaking to the world. These models of governance, distributed, decentralized governance, are to be the future of public administration for the world that will increase in population and prosperity in the years to come. Also, you might have seen videos of the Japanese premier going gaga over UPI, while doing transactions with the flower seller in Delhi or something, this one. And that is the USP of India to the world. The world today is not bipolar or even multipolar, it's technopolar, and we have expressed our commitment to developing this technology sharing this technology and creating a global repository for every country to build its growth story on. And the technology tested again with the populations at that of India is very robust and can scale anywhere. SDGs. India has reiterated its commitment to the SDGs, and with Mission Life being a household name today, and launching the Global Biofuels Alliance for clean energy and climate financing for clean energy through MDBs. The SDGs are a very strong element of the Delhi Declaration as well. Agriculture was another key topic. This year was also the International Year of Millets, also stewarded by India, and the Millet and Other Grains Research Initiative, International Research Initiative, was put forth by India to promote and mainstream millets and other superfoods to take care of food security. The war's effect on the global food supply chain has also been immense, and a call for action to address that has been taken as well. India also called for a global financial reform with multilateral development banks to look at what really works for the global south and the instruments that they really need and to act accordingly. India, the Middle East and Europe have also committed to build an economic corridor and overcome all obstacles that hinder free trade. Another action that made headlines was the inclusion of the African Union into the G20. India has effectively brought another 54 countries and thereby another 20% of global population into the G20. Most of these are so-called third world countries. Again, it's interesting how they became third world. After the end of World War II, when most of these countries just gained independence, the First World War were US and its allies, the Second World was Russia and its allies. These countries did not want to join the first bloc because they were essentially colonizers, and second bloc because, well, they are reservations against communism. So they became third world countries, us included, and so they remain even today. Global South is more accepted word today, and because I want to be politically correct, that's what I'll use. They can learn from the development trajectory of India, and it is going to be a model for the countries of the Global South. With the inclusion of the African Union, the involvement of the highest number of people in the history of the G20, making a strong commitment to the future and taking the G20 to every state in this country, India is about to draw curtains on a truly historic presidency that has more than lived up to its theme, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future. And I am excited to see where we go from here. That's my time, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to me speak. Jai Hind.
Dr. Chennai, can I request you to give memento to the last speaker, please? Thank you. So, on a very lighter note, the sequencing of the speakers are such that each and everyone is a stalwart in their own right. Everybody is coming here with salt and pepperish hair and, giving you all these pearls of wisdom. And then comes Mr. Navaneeth, and he begins with apprehension because of all the things I just said. Now here is a guy, after all the Buddhas that have come, a young guy with jet black hair and the most decibel levels. Thank you so much for your contribution to iTALK today. I learned a lot today. Glad to see that whatever India is doing, it is going back to the scriptures in some ways. The focus on sustainability, I like the thing you talked about millets. That's very important because water conservation and sustainability is very important in the days forward.
Also, the Millet Alliance is called Maharishi.
See? So it gives, it's all music to my ears that we are going back to the scriptures. There is a lot to be learned here. So I'm hoping there is sustainability and I'm hoping that success follows. Thank you so much for your time.